Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author, idiot, and loin streamer. And today we're going to be talking about a grouping of generative AI stuff, updates, just new discussion pieces to keep you up to date to what I've seen going on for the last couple of weeks. Just know that this is kind of over a couple of weeks if you're new to the channel because I can only do a video like this once a week, and I kind of save up stuff that I find so that I can cover other objects on Saturdays. Anyway, before we get started, number one, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Number two, if you would like to be featured on the channel, check out the links down in the description below. The number one way to be featured is through Lamwai, the monthly prompt writing contest, where I give you a prompt, you write a short story using that prompt, and on the first Monday video of the month, we bask in your creativity. The second way to be featured is if you are an indie author and you have a book out or a book that is coming out. If you submit your first chapter and your cover to the Fresh Meat feature, it will be right here on the channel to hopefully help more readers find your work. Sometimes I grab a book out of there. I read the first chapter and I'm like, ooh, shiny. I saw the second book after The Dark Violinist. I think it was The Dark Scientist in that grouping, and I was like, looks like I got a book to buy, because I did enjoy reading The Dark Violinist, which first chapter is on this channel, and I book reviewed it in a grouping of books, I think a couple of weeks ago. So I grab books out of there all the time. I have a couple. I have one that I bought last December, and I've been so behind in reading stuff that I haven't gotten to it. But it had a lighthouse and ghost stories about the lighthouse, and it was in one of the Carolinas, I think it was. I would like to get back to that at some point. And I read The Origin of the Sky from there, and I read St. Gregory from there. And so I grab stuff from there all the time, and hopefully other readers will take a look at your work and go and buy more if they are tickled by it. There are a couple others that I haven't gotten to buy yet because, well, I'm just behind on my books, if you haven't noticed. Anyway, hopefully you get discovered. I try to do what I can. The third thing is, if you would like to check out any of my books, they're available at any of your favorite places to get books, including the local library upon request. My newest book, Bodymore Zero, which is the prequel to the Bodymore series, will come out in October, featuring these two gentlemen right here as, unlikely brothers, very opposite type brothers. And it's rough. You get Casey's very, very rough start. Casey is the blonde here. He needed help. He needed a lot of help. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy it if you check it out. If you don't, that's fine too. I don't want to disappoint anyone. With that said, let's jump into the topic. So the first video that we have, well, the first thing that we're going to have is a video actually reposted by Ed Newton, where Microsoft AI CEO says the social contract of content on the open web is fair use. Anyone can copy it. It's freeware.
With respect to content that is already on the open web, the social contract of that content since the 90s has been that it is fair use. Anyone can copy it, recreate with it, reproduce with it. That has been freeware, if you like. That's been the understanding. There's a separate category where a website or a publisher or a news organization had explicitly said, do not scrape or crawl me for any other reason than indexing me so that other people can find that content. That's a gray area, and I think that's going to work its way through the courts.
That's an outright lie, because we already know, like, Napster was not LimeWire. I'm pretty sure LimeWire got sued into oblivion. But you've got music all over YouTube. You got copyrighted music. You got copyrighted movies that are taken down on YouTube. You got copyrighted audiobooks that are taken down on YouTube all of the time. Just because it's on the internet does not mean that it is fair use, or else you would have free movies and all of the free video games, and it would not be considered pirating, period. If any of these people want to say that if it's on the internet, then it's free, then I'm waiting for Adobe to be free, because it's on the internet, so it's free to use. It's piratable, so it's free, right? If it's on the internet, then it's These are just corporations trying to steal from you. We also have over here from 404 Media, hackers target AI users with malicious Stable Diffusion tool on GitHub to protest art theft. A group of hackers that say it believes AI generated artwork is detrimental to the creative industry and should be discouraged is hacking people who are trying to use a popular interface to the AI image generator software Stable Diffusion with malicious extensions for the image generator interface shared on GitHub. Comfy UI is an extremely popular graphical user interface for Stable Diffusion that's shared freely on GitHub, making it easier for users to generate images and modify their image generation models. Comfy UI _ LLM Vision, the extension that was compromised to hack users, is a Comfy UI extension that allowed users to integrate large language models GPT-4 and Claude 3 into the same interface. The Comfy UI LLM Vision GitHub page is currently down, but a Wayback Machine archive is from June 9th states that it was compromised by Noel Bulge Group. Maybe check us out and maybe think twice about releasing AI tools on such weakly secured account, the same archived GitHub page says. The page says that it was a legitimate extension until it was compromised, and an archive of its GitHub page from May 25th shows that it was somewhat active with 42 stars, 4 forks, and 12 comments. On the website, the hackers claim that it has control of the extension for many months and that they had taken control of Comfy UI LLM Vision before the creator even posted, indicating that it may have contained malicious code the entire time that it was on GitHub. GitHub did not immediately respond to the request to comment. On the Comfy UI subreddit, one user started a thread about the hack on Sunday and claimed to have personally been affected by this. About a week later, I installed the package. I got a ton of malicious login notifications on a bunch of services, so I'm absolutely sure that they are actively using this data. On its website, Noel Bulge also shared a list of what it claimed to be login details for different accounts for hundreds of users harvested from the malicious extension. VPN Mentor, a VPN company that publishes some security research, has promoted its product, analyzed the malicious extension, and claims that it is able to steal crypto wallet screenshots of users' screen, expose device information and IP addresses, and steal files that contain certain keywords or extensions. Noel Bulge's own website is also down at the moment, but an archive of it includes an About Us section that says that they are a collective of individuals who believe in the importance of protecting artists' rights and ensuring fair compensation for their work. Another section on the site's page includes it titled, "You Hacked Me, Us, My Website, Why?" And it says, "We are sorry that we had to do that, but we only do it if you have committed one of our sins: arts theft, crypto promotion, AI generated artwork, theft from Patreon or other platforms that support artists, any other form of theft from artists." We don't know if the hackers in this case are actually taking an anti-AI art ideological stand, or they're just saying so and hacking whoever they can, or even making fun of that cause. Noel Bulge refers to a smooth bulge on the genital area of some furry creatures, one of which is featured at the top of the hacking group's website. Regardless of the real motivations, the Comfy UI LLM Vision attack once again highlights that free software from GitHub that's maintained by individuals or small groups of open source software developers can be a massive security risk. In March, we saw how malicious of an actor managed to inject malicious code into a popular compression utility used in many major distributors of Linux. Then you have Paloma McLean over here. Generative AI companies will spam expanding access to creativity in their marketing when artists have been sharing free content and tutorials for years. You can go on beginner to pro without even going to art school, trying to convince us they're fixing a problem that they made up. These champions of innovation try to gaslight creators that they're empowering them when their technology isn't even worth a damn without the work of non-consenting people. Champions of innovation that have to claim that they are solving problems that don't exist to sound useful. And you look at it, yeah, if you went on, not anymore because most people have abandoned DeviantArt. But DeviantArt, YouTube is also full of tutorials and classes basically, and you can get more stuff with Patreons or with masterclasses or with not even masterclasses, but artists have been offering free stuff to learn how to draw at different levels all over the place since forever, since the internet has been available that it has. With Corey Bickley illustration, I would encourage people to watch the full thing. Timestamp is at her dropping artists gatekeep creativity, and AI lets people feel creative. And her and the hosts being excited because you could make your own Thor movie that lasts forever.
Expand. And right now, if you think about how humans consider creativity, we see it as sort of this very special thing that's only accessible to these very few talented people out there. And these tools actually make it lower the barrier for anyone to think of themselves as creative, and expand their creativity. So
that's so insane. Like, what kind of person? This is trying to steal abilities from other people. This is actually super villain level stuff if you look at it in the terms of how it would be in a movie. But what kind of delusional or selfish person do you have to be like, you see that person over there? They've got a skill that I want. But I don't want to like spend time to learn it. I just want it. So give it to me right now. And she acts like you can't develop anything, like you can't be anything. Look, as a creative person, I see other people's creativity that I can't do, that is inspiring to me, and go, how can I translate what that person just did in a way that I can express it? And sometimes that's in the form of characters. Sometimes that's in the form of art that I can't draw yet because I'm not very skilled at art. Sometimes that's in the form of figuring out how to tell a story or write a scene. Sometimes I am so excited, bro, I need somebody to like love Body more enough to turn it into something visual. Because Ren's song Murderer is so perfect for Casey. It is so perfect. There are so many things that I would love to put visuals to that I can't put visuals to because I'm not skilled in that way. But what I love is artists talking to artists through different mediums of art. This inspired me. This spoke to me through this, this, and this, and this. And this thing right here going, oh, well, some people just don't have that ability. So doing this allows them to pretend that they have that ability and to feel less left out, which then makes me be like, is that why you're constantly seeking the affirmation, the validity from artists? Because you don't count unless artists see you that way, right? Because you know that you're faking, because you know that you're being lazy. And it's fine if you don't see the desire, the value in spending your time drawing or learning how to play guitar or learning how to do music in other ways, because it is a time investment, and we all have finite amounts of time and finite amounts of energy along with everything else that we're doing. But seeing that somebody spent their time learning to do something and you going, well, I don't want to do that, I just want it, is disrespectful, dismissive, disgusting to those people that made that sacrifice to do that thing. I used to play guitar and I used to sing. I was in a children's choir, like all growing up. And then I did private lessons for a little while. And then I lost my singing voice. And I did guitar lessons at the same time that I was doing singing lessons, but I was more into singing than guitar. And I just did not have the drive to spend my time learning guitar. Sometimes I even found excuses. I mean, and as a kid, you're going to find excuses to not do a lot of things. But I found excuses to not do the guitar, to not pursue the guitar. But I found excuses to write all the time. And that's where I ended up putting my efforts, because I don't have time to write and sing. I don't have time to do everything. And I have to pick what I'm going to spend my time doing. And everybody has to make that call. But going, well, I didn't choose to spend that, but I still want the abilities to do that, is just selfishness.
So in that sense, I think it's actually going to be really incredible.
Yeah, it could give me 200 different cliffhangers for the end of episode 1 or whatever.
Right.
Yes. Very easily.
That's also not what telling a story is about. Give me 200 different endings for this, cliffhangers for this ending. If you're telling a story, that shows such a non-ability to understand what storytelling is. If you're telling a story, you're showing a journey, you're showing characters make decisions to do something. What do you think a story is that you should get 200 endings? Because all you're looking for is consumption. That's it. There's no meaning to consumption. You're just a glutton. Which is going to lead me into a different discussion that I want to have, which is just the insatiable selfishness and gluttonous behavior that I see all over the place. That's just like more, as fast as possible. Somebody complaining about it taking time to create the second season of the One Piece live action or something. And, oh, well, I'm not interested in that anymore because it took too long. Did you not know that stuff takes time to create? A lot of people want to complain about the quality of stuff that's out there now, but don't accept that stuff takes time to create and then blame the creators for not instantly zapping it. calm down. You remember when new shows took like a week or two or a month or two to come out? It's insane.
And you can extend the story never ends. You
Yeah.
can just
Oh, keep going.
continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm done writing, but you keep going. Yeah.
That's not what a story is about. A story shows a journey. It's not a never ending. I mean, sometimes it's a never ending, but a story, unless it's fan fiction that never ends, is going to have an ending. So I'm going to link this AI Everywhere, Transforming Our World, Empowering Humanity in the comments down below in the description, so you can watch the whole thing since it is an hour. From that, we also have a secondary clip from that same video.
I think it's really going to be a collaborative tool, especially in the creative spaces, where
I do too.
yeah, more people will become more
There's some
creative.
fear.
I can't believe she keeps using quotation marks around I mean, I guess I can because they're not really being creative, but it feels like a mockery. She's just mocking the entire idea of creativity.
Some creative jobs maybe will go away, but maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place. You know, if the content that comes out of it is not very high quality, but I really believe that using it as a tool for education, creativity will expand our intelligence and creativity and imagination.
So some creative jobs will go away, but maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place. The only reason that generative AI can exist is because there is creative content out there. But it's never been about high quality. Popular stuff doesn't have to be high quality. If you look at freaking Fourth Wing, come talk to me later about high quality. Go read Fourth Wing if you haven't, and then tell me about high quality. Because it's never really been about that. And art in general does not have to be high quality. This is one of the things that's I shouldn't say really annoyed me, but it's something that's become very apparent in discussing and being in conversation with AI bros, is they only want a final product that is to a certain extent. And even just presenting my work as I'm learning how to draw, as I'm going through the hurdles and learning how to do shapes and learning how to have a steadier hand and experimenting, is the AI bros come at me to insult me specifically because all they see is the value of, can I sell it? Is that to the quality in which I would spend money on? No, then it has no purpose. They do not understand what art is for and that it is a skill to build. It's just, is this good? As immediately, is this exactly what I want? No, it's worthless then. Following that up, we have Mock Shoei saying AI brings a playing field to the non-talented and helps us present our thoughts. Maybe learn how to present your thoughts. You're not learning how to present your thoughts or helping. You're just stealing from other people. Although I couldn't draw, it doesn't mean that I couldn't imagine. So you go and hire an artist and commission an artist to create what you were talking about. Reed Southern responds with, it's crazy when an AI user outright broadcasts how untalented they are and starts flexing their extreme sense of entitlement. Artists work their asses off to get where they are just so these admittedly talentless hacks can swoop in and take it all for themselves, pick up a pencil. Got QD. It's crazy that these hate-filled narcissistic people outright broadcast their insecurities and how scared they are, while at the same time just showing that how illiterate they are. The mix of illiteracy and narcissism is kind of funny though. It allows you to see just how warped the minds are, making correlations of a person admitting his faults and the narcissist flipping it into a threat, thinking that it's a flex. Wait, no, that's actually sad. It's akin to criticizing a person in a wheelchair for appreciating mobility and quality of life it provides. Why do these people always rely on associating not being creative or not being able to draw as a disability? It's not a disability. It's a skill that you have to learn. And it's not the same thing as using a wheelchair. That is insane. And they keep using disabilities as a shield when artists who have physical disabilities and learned to create other ways show up and go, no. They constantly go, well, look, I'm disabled, which means I can steal. I think that you got a different problem going on if you are considering not being creative a disability. And Reed Southern made the same correlation. Reed Southern also says AI prompters will talk about exploring the latent space, but at the same time lay claim to or take credit for what they find there. It's digital colonialism at its most literal nonsense. AI Furry R Safer Workish says nothing to see here, just someone comparing exploring latent space to colonialism. And Reed Southern, I love how you just openly broadcast your ignorance when you think you've zinged me. Here you go with none of us saw digital colonialism coming. Now we just live it with its consequences. So it's not that Reed came up with those. It's that other people said them and the AI bros just don't follow. Are you aware that anti-AI people have a huge image problem, that they're often regarded as irrational and hysterical? And I don't think tweets like this one prove that this, like the ones you've been making today, really help that. Go grill a hot dog or something else. My guy, you're going to talk about image problem. I don't care if you look great, number one, if you're nuts. That doesn't fix anything. Number two, it is a very common trope to call people insane, to try to dismiss them, to force institutionalization, as if Elizabeth Packard wasn't a topic on this channel, as if a Rotten Mango just did a video that was a pastor that kept calling one of his wives, one that he groomed from 15 years old until he married her after cheating on his current wife at the time, and they kept calling her insane, forced her into institutionalization, and tried to paint her as an insanity so that people wouldn't look into her death. Common trope by bad guys. I'm just going to say, don't be Theophilus, but AI furry art, you look like Theophilus right now. That is not a compliment. Reed Southern also posted this. I think this is likely the same grift as always. They're pretending that fine-tuning on top of stable diffusion-based model is ethical. 100,000 images isn't enough of a foundation model. SD 1.5 was 2.3 billion, literally 23,000 times larger. It's got to be built on something. And he posted a screenshot here saying, we drew thousands of illustrations. We were a team of artists and engineers behind Icons 8. Ouch. Over the years, we have created 200 plus art styles and 100,000 illustrations. While we still draw hundreds of new illustrations weekly, we can't cover all people's needs, and that's where AI steps in to assist. Excuse me? People reacting to AI concept art by saying that using it for quick thumbnail sketches / idea generation makes me really question what people think concept art is. What is the point of doing a design exploration if you aren't freaking designing anything? True, and having been somebody who has commissioned more than a couple of works, who's have designed characters and had characters explored further through design, who has personally explored different designs by my own drawing of characters, the concept is in doing those things. You can't design the characters without being part of the process. And Ralph is very specifically I've watched him change every time he's been drawn to be more and more refined. And that is part of concept art. Also, so it's just, throwing out the idea. That also happens when you're hiring somebody and they're showing you an idea of what they're doing, and then you can develop from that idea. Speaking of concepts and use of AI art, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa says that while AI has value, Nintendo won't be using it for its game development. Generative AI, which has been a hot topic in recent years, can be more creative, but we also recognize that it has issues with intellectual property rights. Our company has decades of know-how in creating optimal gaming experiences for our customers. While we are flexible in responding to technological developments, we hope to continue to deliver value that is unique to us and cannot be created through technology alone. Same though, same. Ed Newton Rex posting, we already knew that Leon 5B, used to train many of the biggest AI image models, contained CSM, which is child sexual abuse materials. Now it emerges that it also contains photos of children with identifiable information, names, locations, etc. Of only 5,850 images sampled, 190 identifiable photos of children. This included screenshots from unlisted YouTube videos and photos from web pages not indexed by Google. That is, images that were meant to be private. AI image generators trained on Leon 5B have famously been used extensively to generate child sexual abuse materials. We know how the photos of real children have been used to build these models without permission. And there is a Guardian article here. Photos of Australian children have been included in the dataset used by several AI image generator tools without the knowledge or consent of them and their families, researchers by Human Rights Watch have found. Over here with a Gamma Trap, I am a game dev. I didn't know how to code, so I learned. I didn't know how to write music, so I learned. I didn't know how to animate, I learned. If someone thinks that they need to resort to generative AI to bring a vision to life, it didn't deserve to live. Agreed. If you can't do the work, it didn't deserve to live. It doesn't deserve to live. I am not gatekeeping making games. What kind of monster do you think I am? I'm gatekeeping labor. Have some music from a game that I made that I'm working on. Well, there you go. Follow his stuff. Dead steps. Now over here with Variety, we have AI Audio Film 11 Labs has set agreements with the estates of Judy Garland, James Dean, and other legends to use their voices to read books, articles, PDFs, and other text materials for mobile users of its new reader app, because screw voice actors, right? I will constantly use voice actors as much as I can. And it looks down here with Dr. What, aka Kevin Neese, saying, let's put it this way, every voice actor in the industry has refused to respond to me, so if AI steals jobs away from them, they are getting karma they deserve. So what, you're okay with punishing? That's just punishment right here. This is not justice. This is not anything else. You either respond to me, you need to know me if I just reach out to you, or you get stolen from. That's BS perspective. That's punishment, that's resentment, that's, hey, you celebrity person, probably. You better do it as I say, or else. Michelle Rosenthal, if you understand that artists are workers, then you understand that art is not about having an idea. It's about doing the labor. You know how many times, oh my gosh, before this year, how many times in specifically political spaces with people that don't give a crap about art, about learning art, about any of it, where they have been like, okay, I'm going to come up with the idea, but I want other people to actually execute it because I don't want to do the work. I just want to be the figurehead. And then nobody takes credit for it except for maybe me. I will be the figurehead because you're all using my ideas. The work, the execution is what makes it special. Now, there are the product. There is the art like product, the stuff that is mass produced, the stuff that really, doesn't matter. It matters so little that people hire ghost writers to just produce schlop to put into genres. But the writing that's different, the writing that is actually worth reading, in my opinion, is writing that is thought about. Because while there may be a billion different books on what is the purpose of life, it is your vision to that question that you've shaped your characters around, you've shaped your world around, you've got your characters trying to pursue those answers. It is the way that you see the world specifically different that makes it worth reading. If you don't do the work, it doesn't matter because only you can create that thing. Look, up until me when I was 16, and then again earlier this year when I started drawing again, this guy didn't exist. This guy is all me. And he might not seem special, but he is special because he and Khan are creatures that only I could make, are people that only I can make because of the way that my brain works. And that's the same for every artist. It's why I value reading different artists, why I value looking at different artists. I want to see, I want to feel, I want to experience what they feel. And that's why I talk about books the way that I talk about books, even if I don't like them. Over here with John Lamb, I wanted to bring this up. It's going to be too late by the time this video goes out, but the White House wants to hear from us creators in person about what we think about Gen AI and how it affects us in the economy. I feel the bare minimum effort the government has put forth, but still something important. The deadline is July 12th. I will post about this on my community tab, so you may see this in the community tab before this video goes up. Ed Newton Rex has, it is encouraging when people say copyright laws need to be changed. It suggests that they agree that the law is currently being broken, which we have AI Gen AI chat over here saying copyright laws need to be changed ASAP. If the US wants any kind of lead in the AI race, copyright laws need to be drastically changed or outright abolished. No copyright laws? With AI startups like Suno and Udio facing lawsuits, we need new laws put in place because eventually nearly every AI startup will be facing lawsuits. You don't say. Why will they be facing lawsuits? It's because they're freaking breaking the law? Having an open and free internet is a precursor to free and open AI models. We absolutely cannot hinder AI development because of some outdated laws and hurt feelings. We absolutely cannot hinder upward mobility because of some outdated laws and hurt feelings. Like thievery should obviously be legal. So take a look at the human brain. When we are coming up with new thoughts, we are taking pieces of things that we already know in order to form something brand new. For an efficient neural network to work this way, it needs to be trained on a significant amount of work, copyrighted work included. Computers do not work like human brains. If you think that, go and touch grass. Just go talk to a person. It's clear that you've been inside your room on your phone too long. Change the laws and require AI labels if necessary. Let the people train their models on anything and everything in existence. Perhaps there is some way to elevate and highlight the original copyrighted works in the future AI content. If a song or video is borrowing elements from an existing piece of work that is protected by copyright, let there be an algorithm that detects these things and includes them in the credits so that they receive some sort of royalty. Automate the process completely. No. No. I don't give anybody permission to use any of my things without my permission. Like, look at my characters here. You can call them uncreative as much as you want. You can call them as generic as much as you want, but they are mine. And it's not up to you to decide that you can take them from me and do with them as you will and then profitize off them and not mention anything. It's not up to you. And it's insane to me, the amount of entitlement that all of these people have to say, you made that? That's yours? Well, it's mine now, bitch. I'm going to make all the money off of it that I want. Zakuga Art says, I did an interview with Wired on how Meta's opt-out option was a lie from the start. Meta told users on June 26 that they had to opt out or they'll scrape your accounts to train AI. Opt-out is BS, yet hundreds of thousands demanded our private data and copyright works not be utilized, a right that we have due to multiple laws. Meta's response? Hi, Carla. Based on the information that you provided to us, we are unable to identify any examples of your personal information in the response from one of Meta's generative AI models. As a result, we cannot take further action on your request. If you want to learn more about Gen AI and our privacy works in the new space, please review the information that we have at the Privacy Center. So, it's a scam. I'm not the only one who got that response. I have family, friends, peers who all got the same email. Meta refuses to follow the law, asking us to prove how their closed Gen AI models disregard rights to then ignore anyway. And I mean, look at this ridiculous question in Meta's form. To address your request, we need information on whether AI at Meta's models have knowledge of you. Please provide any prompts that you entered that resulted in your personal information appearing in a response for an AI model, feature, or experience. Last year, in October, Meta claimed the same opt-out form doesn't opt you out. If Meta already knew that they were going to ignore opt-out requests, then they should have given the public ample time to remove data from their accounts at the very least. I shouldn't have to explain to big tech that copyright and private data shouldn't be used to train AI without consent. I shouldn't have had to provide further evidence that I do not consent to this. Media, government, and regulatory agencies need to tackle this ASAP. If you're affected by this, share receipts, tweet about it, call your legislator. This affects everyone in the US and beyond, as tech does not have the rights to profit off of our data in this way. Even taking our data at all costs, ignoring their own opt-out, and our laws. Other countries like the EU and Brazil are already taking action against Meta for the flagrant abuse of our laws and our private and copyrighted data. This could be us. In fact, it has to be us. BT Dub, it's not lost on me that we live in extraordinarily difficult and painful times, but our continued commitment and energy can make a big difference. And I'm holding accountable big technology companies like Meta in one of the many things that require our attention. Jacob Silverman says, from a recent Goldman Sachs report on generative AI, limited money upside capital incentive cannot solve complex problems with no killer app. The bull case is that somehow figure out all of it. Simply put, that bubbles take a long time to burst. And in this, top of Gen AI, too much spend. Tech giants and beyond are set to spend over $1 TN, I don't know how much that is, on AI capex in coming years, with so far little to show for it. So will this large spend ever pay off? MIT's Darren Acemoglu and GC Jim's Covello are skeptical, with Acemoglu seeing only limited U.S. economic upsides from the AI over the next decade, and Covello arguing that the technology isn't designed to solve complex problems that would justify the cost, which may not decline as many expect. But Goldman Sachs's Joseph Briggs, Cash Ragan, and Eric Sheridan remain more optimistic about AI's economic potential and its ability to ultimately generate returns beyond the current picks and shovels phase, even if AI's killer application has not yet emerged. And Even if it does, we explore whether the current chips shortage with Goldman Sachs' Toshiya Hari and looming power shortage with Cloverleaf's Infrastructure's Brian Jonas will constrain AI growth. But despite these concerns and constraints, we still see room for AI theme to run, either because AI starts to deliver on its promise or because the bubble takes so long to burst. It's not doing anything. On the bite, there's a small problem with AI industry. It's making absolutely no money. The current frenzy over the AI resembles the early days of the gold rush found in California in the 19th century, with everyone rushing into the AI sector hoping that it'll make them rich. There's a huge issue. Goldman Sachs analysts have concluded, according to The Economist, that AI just isn't making any serious money yet. Telling Goldman Sachs found that companies that hoped to profit using AI to boost productivity, ranging from HR Block to Walmart, have seen their shares vastly underperform the broader stock market since the tail end of 2022, which is when the AI really started picking up. I'm always going to remember because that's when I started drawing again. AI market penetration is also surprisingly shallow. Only 5% of businesses are using AI, according to U.S. Census Bureau's report flagged by The Economist, and that number is only projected to rise to about 6.6% by this autumn. Adaptation rates may be stymied by concerns over hallucinations when AI just makes stuff up, and security and privacy issues because these models are essentially black boxes that may spit out important trade secrets. And, like we just saw with GitHub, they're very broken. And this happened also with Windows wanting to do its snapshot thing. That was also a back end for hackers. That's no security at all because these apps exist. This program exists to scrape data. There is no privacy. In other words, there's a huge amount of hype, but so far the only companies making much actual revenue off AI are the ones selling the hardware it needs, like NVIDIA. I don't see how this could ever be inputted anywhere that there's actually data issues like hospitals, because it's such an open door for stealing data. We've seen that. There's no way that they can put this in anything secure. Profit motive. In a report last month on generative AI, Goldman Sachs' Jim Covello had harsh words for the industry. AI technology is exceptionally expensive, and to justify those costs, the technology must be able to solve complex problems, which it isn't designed to do. Yes, AI is expensive to deploy and run, not even counting its harmful impact on the environment, so companies using it want to see major returns. The fact that it is so detrimental to the environment, especially while we're being told that human life in general is detrimental to society and we should kill ourselves and turn off the AC. Are you joking me? Tell me that you hate humans without hating humans. So far, it sounds like they aren't. Maybe the real question is how much runaway the AI industry has before the business leaders move on to the next thing. One exception, not that it helps above board businesses, criminals. Hackers are using AI to steal an untold amount of money, which has driven companies to spend much more on cybersecurity measures. See, it's just never going to happen. Grady Bruce. For those who think that training AI on language alone is sufficient to build a mind, please consider this thought experiment. This goes back to the other guy that said it works just like the human mind. Imagine a time in your life when you felt a moment of awe, intense joy, or deep love. Perhaps it is when you stood on the shore of an ocean at night, sensing its immensity. It might have been as a child, laughing with abandon as you were wrung out with the carnival ride. Remember looking into the eyes of a lover, where there was nothing at all in the cosmos but the two of you. Now write it down. Describe how you felt, what you tasted, what you smelled. Explain in words that meant it all in its fullness. You can't. Anything you might write down would be insufficient to capture that moment. There are some things in the experience being human that defy codification in textual symbols. Even if you were to train an AI on lyrics of every love song, every novel, every painting or movie or concept or dance, those symbols would fall short of capturing the subjective experience of being alive, of being you in the moment. Language is just one modality that we use to reflect our inner state. The key being reflect. Words are not thoughts or feelings. They are only one way to communicate our thoughts and feelings between the sender and receiver. Language is just a simple medium with relatively low information content and considerable noise. Again, that's why art in general explains something, shares an experience, shares emotions, and is so individualistic, unless you're doing production product like art. Over here at the Byte, Google researchers publish a paper about how AI is ruining the internet. Google researchers have come out with a new paper that warns that generative AI is ruining vast swaths of the internet with fake content, which is painfully ironic because Google has been hard at work publishing the same technology in its enormous user base. The study is yet to be peer-reviewed paper, spotted by 404 Media, found that the great majority of generative AI users are harnessing the tech to blur the lines between authenticity and deception by posting fake and doctored AI content, such as images and videos, on the internet, which is the only use for it to exist. And we talked about this months ago with some of the other things that came out. The researchers also pored over previously published research on generative AI and around 200 news articles reporting on generative AI misuses. Manipulation of human likeness and falsification of evidence underlie the most prevalent tactics in real-world cases of misuse, the researchers conclude. Most of these were deployed with discernible intent to influence public opinion, enable scams or fraudulent activities, or to generate profit, which is all that it was going to be used for in the beginning. Let's be real. Everybody rushed to make money off of it. Not to be earnest, not to be creative, to make money. Compounding the problem is that generative AI systems are increasingly advanced and readily available, requiring minimal technical expertise, according to researchers, and this situation is twisting people's collective understanding of socio-political reality and scientific consensus. Missing from the paper, as far as we can tell, any reference to Google's own embarrassing blunders using the tech, which is one of the biggest companies on Earth, have sometimes been enormous in scale. If you read the paper, you can't help but conclude that the misuse of generative AI often sounds a lot like tech is working as intended. People are using Gen AI to make a lot of fake content because it's really good at doing that task and consequently flooding the internet with AI slop. Yes, it does. And it's something that a lot of people have been very pissed off about. Again, the only thing that you get from it is to try to scam money off of people. There is no other use for it. If you scam for positions of power, you're still scamming for money. And this situation is enabled by Google itself, which has allowed this fake content to proliferate or even been the source of it, whether it's fake images or false information. This mess is also testing people's capacity to discern fake from the real, according to researchers. Likewise, the mass production of low-quality, spam-like, and nefarious synthetic content risks increasing people's skepticism towards digital information, altogether, and overloading users with verification tasks. And chillingly, because we're being inundated with fake AI content, the researchers say that there has been instances when high-profile individuals are able to explain away unfavorable evidence as AI generated, shifting the burden of proof, in costly and inefficient ways. As companies like Google continue to cram AI into every product, expect more of this to happen. So what is the benefit to the net general? Going on to other things, Adobe was being sued yesterday in a class action lawsuit for its subscription practices. So the last time I covered generative AI, I was talking about how Adobe was forcing people that were using its program to agree to its new terms that was going to automatically scan anything made in it as generative AI. Consumers say that Adobe violated California's auto renewal law by not clearly disclosing the subscription terms, not obtaining affirmative consent to them, and making it too hard to cancel. New class action lawsuit against Adobe for their subscription practices. Then this is on top of the FTC's lawsuit. So the United States government is also suing Adobe for what Adobe is doing with the generative AI and their false marketing practices. You also had recent news with big AI copyright lawsuit. The music labels are suing Suno and Udio. I know that Sony is part of it. You also have Ed Newton saying another lobbying group claiming to advocate for robust copyright laws founded by an AI company on 5/7, of which 5 of 7, which being sued for copyright infringement. So you see this guy, AI Progress. The AI Progress Coalition advocates for robust copyright policies that continue to support creators and incentivize responsible technological developments of artificial intelligence tools. Our coalition supports the role of U.S. copyright law in enabling creativity and allowing innovation to flourish. Fake group right here. Founding members of AI Progress include Amazon, Cohere, Google, Meta, Midjourney, Microsoft, and OpenAI. So, yeah, they're gonna be working towards lobbying the government in their favor. We also have on August 15, Figma will opt their users into training AI models by default. I don't know who Figma is or what Figma is, so if you use it, just know. It seems like a lot of people are just shoving that into their terms of service to sneak it up on people. If you haven't read the RIAA's response to UDO's statement, it's worth reading. If there is any takeaway from Udio's meandering response, it is that Udio is attempting to construct an alternative reality where being pro-artist means stealing artists' work for profit. In the reality everyone else is living in, artists advocate groups oppose what Udio is doing and strongly support these lawsuits. Supporting real creativity means getting permission before using someone's work and developing technology that partners with and supports human artists instead of cutting them out and replacing them. Music companies are hard at work, collaborating with artists on responsible applications of AI. There is one surprising note of agreement. Udio now seems to admit their model copied a large collection of recorded music. That's a startling admission of illegal and unethical conduct, and they should be held accountable. As always, you can't get away from these guys without freaking AI garbage in here being like, but don't humans learn from humans? Sorry. That was rude. Okay, 3 major record labels are suing Suno and Udio for willful copyright infringement on almost unimaginable scale. They provide evidence that both companies trained on their music, including outputs that closely resemble the recordings ABBA, Michael Jackson, Green Day, James Brown, and more. They outline why this is not fair use. They say that this is wholesale theft. Copyrighted recordings threaten the entire music ecosystem and the numerous people it employs. They include unknown co-defendants who assisted in copy scraping, and they demand a trial. So you got the music involved. And you have examples down here with Udio versus My Girl, Suno versus Rock Around the Clock, Udio versus American Idiot, Suno versus Johnny B. Good, Suno versus Mariah Carey. So those should be going to trial. Over here with Brian Merchant, the AI startup Perplexity, still in hot water for plagiarizing Forbes, is ignoring the robots.txt marker, which said it would respect. It also is using a hidden IP address to scrape sites, indicating it is hoping to keep its practices secret. A Wired analysis, and one carried out by developer Rob Knight, suggests that Perplexity is able to archive this partially through apparently ignoring a widely accepted web standard known as Robot Exclusion Protocol to its surreptitiously scrape areas of websites that operators do not want accessed by bots, despite claiming that it won't. Wired observed a machine tied to Perplexity, more specifically one of Amazon's servers and almost certainly operated by Perplexity, doing this on Wired.com and across the other Condé Nast publications. So still just breaking all of the rules, and even where they say that they're not breaking even written rules. Brian Merchant also posted, this is a great story about how exactly management can use generative AI to degrade and replace jobs. It's a lengthy process with juniors and precarious workers replaced first and more senior jobs de-skilled into ones tasked with overseeing AI output. They're told to paint on top until it's no longer recognizable as AI, which is something that I mentioned again in previous videos as counterfeiting, as laundering art. And I know that some did a response to the generative AI by trying to take it back by doing that. But I've always said that it is just laundering art, hiding that it is generative AI. And that's why they also do it. The companies do it because they know that it's a problem. So they try to hide it underneath overdrawing. But that's still what it is. It's laundering. Reed Southern adds, a team of 60 writers and editors laid off and replaced by AI in less than a year. If you think that you're safe from corporate greed, think again. Generative AI is nothing more than a means of funneling money into the pockets of people doing the least amount of work. And that includes the people trying to use the independent market to push out automatically created content and then pretend that they are creators of some kind. You're not. And they're just flooding the market. It's not that anybody is afraid of our jobs being taken. We are being pushed out in general. And then having to compete in the same market that is being flooded by garbage. from people who don't give a crap about what they're doing. They're just trying to make money by devaluing everything. John Lamb says, so basically AI companies were racing with each other, ignoring copyright laws, ethics, and actual fair use. Stuff that we artists have been saying for 3 years now. Ed Newton says, in a public statement, Gen AI companies are justifying training on people's work without permission by pointing out that other Gen AI companies were doing the same thing. So it's just, well, he did it. I had to beat him. So I also murdered people. Neil Turkovitz says, given certain recent statements about how real artists shouldn't be worried about Gen AI, I thought that I would repost this thread reminding folks that artists aren't concerned about AI being better than they are, only about devaluing their craft by being faster, cheaper, and exploitive. The problem with AI isn't that AI will replace authors because they can produce literary works of equal value. The problem is that good enough will end up being good enough, devastating our cultural milieu and placing authors in even greater precarity. Meanwhile, McDonald's is killing its AI drive-thrus because they can't even get simple orders right, yet people are still trying to use this technology for things like education, law, and government. I think there was an article I covered some months ago where California schools were replacing some teachers with generative AI as the teachers, which is not only stupid because you don't know what that thing is going to teach the kids, but number two, do you know what kind of mental issues you're going to give kids when they're not even important enough for the adults to like give any time to? Because that does matter. Receiving attention from the people around you, feeling important to the people around you does actually change emotional development. Bacon, ice cream, and nugget overload sees misfiring at McDonald's, AI withdrawn. So there's that. Gen AI is labor theft, and people are losing their jobs right now, and it's happening quietly. Gen AI is anti-worker, anti-human, and pro-corporate greed. That's all that it is. The FTC has taken a class action lawsuit against Adobe and two executives for pushing people into subscriptions and then making it absurdly hard to cancel. Adobe ambushed users with hefty early termination fees and threw up obstacles when people tried to cancel, which is why they are getting sued by the US government for false practices. So, heck yeah. Corporation versus government, freaking lose as long as consumers can stop losing on this one. You also have the upcoming UK election will feature an AI candidate for the first time. Steve Endicott will use AI Steve as an avatar and co-pilot if he is elected as an MP. While it's probably better that government officials do not have so much time on their hands, they have to go do something else, how little do you have to say, I care about these people and these policies, than not even showing up for the job? I mean, sometimes you might be able to get away with it and be like, look, at least I'm not causing problems. But generative AI like this also goes, I don't care about you. I don't care about this position. Make me on welfare, basically. And hackers can do this because they can just hack into my avatar and do stuff. It's just lazy people. According to a new report, Adobe's own employees are just as unhappy about the company's spyware like TOS clauses and poor communication as regular users. The company plans to unveil a revised terms of service on June 18th. Trust is broken. Yeah, everybody is like done with it. Established author with comfortable Apple TV deal doesn't give a crap about artists' concerns with AI, nor other writers by the looks of it. So you've got this guy right here, Hugh Howey, saying, why are artists scared of AI? Someone was already stealing your work. Almost everyone was already better than you. There has always been more content than consumers. Making a living has never been easy. Are you making art to be the best, to get rich? But you would have failed and been miserable at any time in history. Are you making art because you need it like oxygen? Carry on then. Me writing books that people read and perhaps get inspired from for their own books equals contributing to culture. AI being trained on my books equals theft, crimes against humanity, immortal sin, death to all who disagree, Satan spawn. Personally, I'm cool with it. Train away. Says Mr. Elitist who already has a job. He says train away. He's got the connection, so he don't got to worry. Stability from Benjamin BLM. Stability AI is trying to use copyrights to claim ownership of Stable Diffusion 3.0 and license it to people for a fee. So they're going to steal your work and put it into their machine and then charge people to output stuff used by you. When Neil Turkovitz, ever wish for an AI that you can talk to anytime? I mean, basically, we already have that, except it's a Fed. You can just look at your phone, say goodnight, Fed. But no. I know that people are lonely. The way to fix that is not by having a computer system that is going to broadcast everything you say to the corporations that are sold out to the government. If there's a loneliness epidemic, we need to fix it within our communities, not outsource it to the feds. John Lamb says, is it true Photoshop, FTC? Something else to look into. Adobe allegedly encrypting real art with AI metadata. If true, that's a huge freaking violation, which Clarissa Herrera over here says, I know that I can't escape AI taking my stuff, but Photoshop encrypting AI data into images is not good. I will stop using Photoshop from now on. It was my favorite program, and that's really disappointing. This and Meta flagging real artists' work with AI is infuriating. And they just automatically flagged it with AI, so you upload it, and it says it's got AI in it because it used their thing. And that's just to muddy the waters between what is AI and what is not AI. Glaze at U Chicago had an update. They wanted to share an update. Today, there was a paper uploaded that showed a new attack against Glaze. The researchers shared their paper with us before releasing it, giving us a chance to read about their results. First, the attack is new and targets Glaze Mist anti-Dream Booth. The paper shows key results on Glaze 1.1 that we pre-produced and attacked and tested it. Its effects are weaker on Glaze 2.0, and the attack destroys details on art where it tries to remove Glaze. It's ridiculous that people are trying to make something to protect their own art from being stolen, and obviously there are people out there just trying to steal the art again and to break the code. I mean, obviously there are tools to break into cars, to break into houses, to steal all kinds of things. So why would art be off the table? Apparently there's enough value in art that people are trying to steal it too. And we have Kuno AX at AX over here. AI bros think that all art just pops into existence from the artist's mind without reference. This is why they treat lack of skill as a disability. So getting to know why people argue the way they do kind of helps you see their thought process, which is why it's worthy to get into. And this goes into this guy saying, AI bro is saying stylized art is a gimmick. Reference, model is way too cartoony. That was the point. Then why need the photo? To show what I used for the reference so that you can see what the inspiration was. Yes, of course, but still a gimmick. And I mean actual architecture to comic style is hardly an achievement of any kind, masking it with details. They just don't understand. Meanwhile, he's making stuff like that. What the frick? I don't even know what I'm looking at. Yeah, at least I'm not the only one. All of the comments over here are just like, what the flip? I don't want to look at that anymore. You also have a children's show that was using generative AI for this garbage. Kids deserve better. Kids deserve better than this. Like, what the frick? Though this is cute. This was worthy. That's what an artist can do. Showrunners letting this slide or actively advocating for AI because of the tight budgets, I might ask, do you think that kids are stupid? These shows that we make for them are foundational and influential. They should be built with care to make lasting memories and help kids grow. If you can't, just do reruns of old shows. It's not like we don't have 50, 60, 70 years of children's shows. We don't want to dumb down topics. We want to simplify. Again, kids aren't dumb and deserve to be treated as such. Visually, we aimed in to give grounded representations of real life, even in fantastical settings, to help nurture natural curiosity. Basically, make it make sense. Kids ask questions and can be detail-oriented. AI injected into children's media is building an unstable, unrealistic slop of a foundation that will be confusing to a child, or at the least, not mentally engaging. Kids are sponges. What you show them matters. Imagine you're a kid again, super into dinosaurs, and you receive an AI horribly scientifically inaccurate dinosaur coloring book as a birthday gift. Please be serious. Kids aren't dumb. They are incredibly curious and deserve to have that curiosity nurtured with care. Taking myself away from the lens of a child and back to my own position, it also hurts deeply. I have a lot of love for everything that I do for work, and I really try to make it worthwhile, and AI undermines this. I stayed working in children's TV and film because there is a joy from getting to explore imagination and design like a child professionally. Wow, if I were younger, I'd love this, and then to pitch it. But recently, contracts have been very sparse. A number of meetings that I've had this year sunk my heart, seeing my personal work next to in-house Gen AI imagery on mood boards. I have no direct proof of AI taking those positions, but I can see some signs in recent media. Okay, you might say, boohoo, you don't have the kind of work right now. That's not the point. The point is that people who cared are pushed for quality, and big ideas might be streamlined out of the pipeline in favor of AI. The resulting media will reflect that cut. Ewan Morrison, AI pushers envy creative people in the arts and depict them as an elite and privileged class. They say that they are justified in stealing from artists because with AI, everyone is creative now. Envy masked as egalitarianism. And you saw it in an earlier video, and I'm pretty sure if you watched the longer video that is posted in the comments, in the description, you'll see it there. Robber barons who depict themselves as Robin Hood. And then finally, this is totally unrelated, but I didn't know where else to put it. But it kind of relates because AI, generative AI, makes you stop thinking, makes you stop trying, makes you stop analyzing. And you see it a lot in conversation too. I cannot tell you, I think the most depressing thing that I've seen in a long time has been the comments on Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. And it's the number of sweepers in there that came in and have zero interest or ability to analyze the content of Gretchen's book and instead just make claims about me as a person for daring to talk about the book. They can't even, it seems, imagine that I'm quoting the book if they even watched the video. It's an inability to think. And it's very sad because that's all that I see in something so biased. And I want you to challenge yourself in thought. I know that sounds really stupid, but it's the challenging of the thought, of the perspective, that teaches us how to expand what we understand. And again, obviously, that's kind of what I do on this channel. I look at different books, I ask different questions, and my stories are generally or lean on the transgressive side of taking on perspectives or sharing perspectives with a gentleness or an understanding or a sincerity. Because that's, I don't know, that's just what I'm called to do. Anyway, Michael T. Foster, I just wanted to share this because this is a book channel and this is kind of considering all of the other pushes to make people stop thinking and to stop pausing to analyze a situation. He says, I'm convinced literature in general can't really be taught at scale and shouldn't be. Just teach kids how to write a decent email and skip the BS about what the color green represents in The Great Gatsby. That's an elitism right there. That's a lack of empathy. And you know, the question that I had a couple weeks ago on my community tab that said, is empathy real? I think with people like Michael T. Foster, it may not be real. And there are the people that see fiction or even memoir that is not a historical event, but it is a personal event and don't see a reason for it. And I think that fiction adds, and storytelling and art adds so much to expanding how we think about things, especially when you question, what is this doing here? Why is it like this? How do I read this situation? How do I see this from another perspective? And even if you don't like it in the end, if you question it, if you bring a different perspective, you know, I've gotten so uncomfortable more recently about sharing my perspective on some books because it feels like just discussing a different perspective on a book is so unwelcome. Because people want to crush you into all feeling the same way. And sometimes it's a task to not feel like I can't share. Anyway, all right, so I've got more to add. Since recording this video, more has come out. I've seen more that I wanted to add to this update without waiting until later. So we're going to go through a couple more things. If you notice my clothing changed, that's why. One of the things includes this right here, where you have, if Gen AI was a tool designed for artists, then why would an artist ever need videos of a time lapse? This is just further cementing that Gen AI is being built as tools to deceive and scam, and that is true. So what you have here is something showing changes to make it look like somebody is drawing these pictures. And why would you do that? Because at some point people had started asking, hey, I want to see the process to prove that this is not generative AI. And so then they built up programs to fake progress shots. So what is that if not scamming? What purpose does this have? You tell me. Then you have the AI that fabricates time lapses, paints undo, was created by the same person who developed ControlNet and Adverse Cleaner, a tool that disables Glaze. He is a student at Stanford University and his name is Liumin Zhang. So somebody who's already very hostile towards the arts in general if he's worked on creating a thing that disables Glaze. There's no reason for it but to steal and counterfeit art. Over here, thank you to the FTC and Lena Khan of the FTC for holding these companies' feet to the fire. And we found out through Forbes that Microsoft quits OpenAI board as regulators crack down on big tech's AI deal making. Microsoft has relinquished its seat on OpenAI's board, and Apple will no longer assume an equivalent role, according to news reports Wednesdays, an unexpected move from the tech giants as they jostle for AI supremacy amid increasing scrutiny from regulators over their investments in artificial intelligence. Though further, it says Microsoft CEO says it wouldn't matter if OpenAI disappeared tomorrow. We have the data, IP rights, and all of the capabilities. So they took up the information, but they also stepped away. I wonder if that means that OpenAI could sue them. So we'll see how that pans out. But stuff's moving forward in general with the lawsuits, and we'll see if it's enough of a liability or not for people to back off. But the race of companies to insert generative AI into everything kind of puts a target on everybody's head. Reed Southern also notated here that Etsy has made it clear that they don't care about artists. They've updated their updated stance on AI flooding their site is that it's totally okay as long as it's your prompt, it's labeled as AI, and you don't sell prompt packs. None of this will save their platform. So Etsy has now said that it's okay to sell generative AI on their platform. I talked about this previously I talked about this previously with their selling of pornography on their website, generative AI pornography. And it's also, it doesn't need to be there. I saw somebody complaining about the crackdown on not safe for work content on Etsy and how it's apparently a problem. But I don't understand the need to put pornography on every single marketplace, on every single website. I think it's fine to have a crafts website that is not selling hardcore pornography. Like you used to actually have websites that said, hey, at least say that you're 18 or older to get in here. But then they just put stuff on these websites that are for selling crafts, that are pictures of hardcore pornography. And then they complain that this is some sort of a crackdown. This is something that's pissed me off more recently, because anytime you say, hey, maybe have a place that is safe for work, you get called names, dragged, insulted, as if there's a problem with having a clean website anywhere, period. And then they go, oh, you use the word clean? Well, that means that you are moralizing. No, it means you know what it means. And y'all obfuscate when we just say, hey, maybe have a website where kids can buy toys, where people can buy toys, because it's not even just about kids. Why are you throwing porn in my face? I didn't consent. And you say, well, don't look at it. Well, don't put it on a website where I'm looking for bookmarks or plushies or whatever. I don't have a choice when you just shove it in everything. Go to a not safe for work website where you have to okay to this stuff. It doesn't need to be on every single corner of the internet. You are a creep if you think that it has to be everywhere. You also have this change. Japanese politicians today at the Tokyo AI Festival, this was March 24th, so this goes further back. I can't remember if I covered this, but they said, I declare that we have no intentions of over-regulating generative AI and will not aim for the EU's hard laws. And then today, as of whatever that was, May 17th, Japanese government, we will regulate generative AI in line with the US and the EU. So Japan has changed its line with the generative AI at some point. We also have Louisa Jarovsky with Sony publishes a statement confirming that using its content, including publicly available creative works to train AI, is prohibited. Innovations must ensure that songwriters and recording artists' rights, including copyrights, are respected. So this goes along with Sony suing other people. They've made it very clear that it being online does not make it fair use. And then over here, Stability AI, the makers of Stable Diffusion, is collapsing considering sales. I will put a link in the description if you would like to read that. But again, a big liability is what's going on right now. Again, with Louisa Jarovsky on AI assistance and intellectual dependency, when we don't use intellectual skills, they recede. For example, if we stop speaking a language for years, our vocabulary is drastically reduced unless we practice it again. If AI assistance starts doing our life's intellectual legwork for us, what will happen to our brains? What if they are biased? What if they are programmed to nudge us? What if they suddenly stop working? What type of individual will we become? What type of society will emerge? That concerns me from both a theoretical and a practical perspective. And I remember like a year ago when somebody was trying to nudge me with generative AI or AI in general and talking about, well, what about the programs that can pick an outfit for you, or that you open the fridge and you show it the fridge and it can tell you what to make? And I still said that I was against that because I think that it's still important that you make decisions. I wear a specific outfit on certain days of the week, specifically work days. I have my Monday outfit, my Tuesday outfit, my Wednesday outfit, Thursday, Friday outfit. And I consistently wear them on the appropriate days. Now that takes the thought out of having to pick a choice of putting an outfit together, but I'm still making the choice of this is what I'm going to wear. Don't let that be taken away, because it is still a conscious choice that actually matters that you are making. And so, yeah, what happens when you take it all away? You stop thinking. And it's important to not stop thinking. You can see the people that stop thinking in my comment section sometimes. It's frightening. We also have this that I wanted to share that has Max Tegmark says that we can build thinking machines without understanding the brain because engineers don't have to deal with the same constraints as evolution. Now, I come at this from a creative writing perspective where you can't actually write something that makes sense if you don't understand why it happens. So then you're reading the book and stuff just randomly happens and it doesn't make sense because there was no thought or understanding behind it. So I don't believe that you can actually do this. I think that this is low IQ and it is a snake oil salesman trying to sell you the fact that they don't know what they're doing, but they think that they can do stuff without knowing how it works. It's like going, I could put together a VCR without actually knowing any of the connections of the VCR.
It's a crazy exciting time. You know, just 4 years ago, most of my colleagues thought that we were decades away from something as smart as ChatGPT-4 because they thought we can never make machines that master language and human knowledge until we figured out how our brain works. And we're nowhere near it, still. And it turned out there was an easier way to make machines that think well. And this reminds me a lot of the situation with flight. You know, in the year 1900, someone could have said, oh, we're never going to figure out how to make flying machines until we figured out mechanical birds. But that was completely wrong, because there was a much easier way to build machines that could fly much faster than birds even. And I think that's what we're seeing. We don't have to totally understand how the brain works. When the brain was optimized by evolution, it was constrained to only develop a biological computer that could self-assemble, and that could do it with only using the most common atoms in the periodic table. You know, really weird constraints that engineers just don't care about.
This just reads like faith to me, because we actually do understand why planes fly. We have a very good understanding engineering-wise as to why planes fly. It's not just magic, but if you believe that it's just magic, if you believe we don't understand any of this, that it just exists and it just somehow works, then that's faith. Over here, AI users are either incredibly hypocritical or incredibly dumb. And you have Ali Jewel saying, agreed. He took several of my images too. My take is that SREFs are for everyone. Whatever SREFs I happen to find and share all are free to create their own images with that SREF, and that I don't need to be credited for finding the SREF. However, I'm not happy with people just taking the images that I created. There's a whole website that basically copy pastes my X posts about Midjourney too, and I have started adding my name in the middle somewhere. That at least it takes a little effort to remove. So not copywriting, but watermarking. And so you've got people watermarking their generative AI and getting pissed. And then finally adding with Ed Newton Rex saying that Vimeo sides with creators, and it says it will not allow generative AI models to train using video hosted on our platform without our explicit consent. So be more like Vimeo. So Vimeo is doing a good job. And two, that also means that there is another company that will sue for copyright infringement for its content being scraped and used for generative AI. Anyway, those are all of my thoughts on the topics for this for this time. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm sorry if this sounds like a little something, but that last thing about some people just not being able to read, shouldn't be able to do more than just write a simple email, which is what generative AI is doing anyway, so then that's perfectly purposeless too, which also people skills are a thing. But that just reads like elitism to me. And there used to be, you know, the heads of the churches, the heads of the whatever, that didn't believe anybody should be able to read unless it's them. Oh, women shouldn't be able to read. Oh, the plebeians shouldn't be able to read. They just need to take orders from us. And I think it's a dangerous mindset of elitists that want to get rid of people and want to get rid of expression. And you know, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, that I said, is empathy real? I think that you can see cases where it's not. On good days, I think that what I have to say, what I see in my stories, what I develop is worthy of existing and worthy of sharing. On bad days, I think it's all hot garbage. But on good days, I think that I'm doing something worthwhile. And I think that other people are too. Not everybody. I'm not giving a pass to everybody. Prove yourself. But with that said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Have a great weekend, and don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out? The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him. Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Why? Did you do that? To the left, plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry, flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?